Hey everyone, welcome to tonight's show. Tonight we have Drew McHart from Briarwood Sporting Club. Then we have Chad Burns from Razr Rodz. Then we're going to finish up with Jason from Family Time Fishing. Stay tuned. Let's get into it.
Hi, this is Dave Hoheisel, owner of the National Fishing Expos. I'd like to invite you to the new Miller Tech National Fishing Expos Tackle and Tip Show hosted by Craig Burwell.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the show. Now we are joined by Drew McHart from Briarwood Sporting Club. Drew, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. Happy to be here.
Okay, thanks for being on. So we're going to get right into it. I want to know what Briarwood Sporting Club is.
Sure. That could take a little while.
Just tell us a little bit about it. Your backstory, how you got started.
Yeah, I'll give you the details. We are a private members-only fishing and hunting preserve located just 1 mile northwest of Columbus, Ohio, in Logan County, Ohio, on the small town of Bellefontaine. And we were founded as a private members-only fishing preserve in this beautiful rolling timbered hills country out there in Logan County. And then when the current owners bought it back in 2008, they turned it into a premier North American whitetails hunting preserve as well. We boast 470 acres, and we are the largest type of preserve members only club like this east of the Mississippi River. That's one of our bragging rights. Probably most notable, especially for the audience we're talking to here, is the fact that we have 19 species of fish to catch on our 470 acres. On that 470 acres, we have 126 acres of water, lakes, streams, and ponds, all spring fed, which makes it just great quality fishing water. So you can catch everything from really nice 50, 60-inch tiger muskie all the way down to bluegills and about everything in between. Walleye, hybrid stripers, largemouth, smallmouth, black crappie, yellow perch, hybrid bluegills, channel cats, 5 species of trout. And that's really what I want to focus on too. We are known because of our spring water streams there for fly fishing for trout. Now you can also spin fish for trout. You just don't have to be a fly fisher. I know a lot of folks out there a little bit of hesitant about fly fishing, but we are known for having 5 species of trout in our streams there. And that's really what's made us so popular. The other thing I want to mention that really makes us different and unique, besides the fact of having both whitetail hunting on there for trophy-sized bucks, as well as the fishing for those 19 species of fish, is the fact that we have five beautiful lodges, sleeping anywhere from 5 to 15 people. And those all are private lodges. They all oversit lakes or large ponds with fire pits, complete with all the modern conveniences. We call them modern but rustic. So you're going to have Wi-Fi in there, so you won't have to do without your Wi-Fi. And we got satellite TV, but big stone fireplaces, fire pits down by the lakes. It's just
sounds beautiful.
Nirvana. You know, I've been at the club now in my position 4 years, almost 4 years exactly. But I was a member there prior 6 years. So I was a member of the club. I'm an avid fly fisherman. Been a fisherman all my life for bass and walleye and knocking down some slab bluegill. So that's it in a nutshell right there.
Okay, now when we spoke on the phone, you were telling us about it's a little bit different than your standard sporting club. You guys are welcoming; it's more family oriented, correct?
Yes,
I mean, okay.
So
You go?
Absolutely. We love having kids out there. It's a great place to get kids interested in fishing. In fact, in the past 3 or 4 years during the COVID and post-COVID kind of time here now, we've had more younger families. And when I mean younger, I'm talking about people with kids that are 3, 4, 5 years old joining the club because they know we've got a lot of fish to catch and a really kind of special environment to catch them. And then, you know, they can stay in the lodges. They come up for day trips. We are open 365 days a year. We never close. In fact, holidays are some of our most popular times. But we make it easy for people to come up there and bring their kids and catch fish. You can always catch bluegills. So, and we got a lot of bluegills. I mean, who
What
does?
happens if you run into a family that might not have that outdoorsy background, but they're looking to get into it? Is there people there that like is, that educate them as well? I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
that's a good question, Craig. About 2 years ago, I developed a guiding and lessons program for
Mhm.
both spin fishing as well as fly fishing. We provide all the equipment. So if you don't have much experience, you don't have the equipment, you don't know what to use, what to fish with, what fly, what lure, what live bait, we're going to help you get there. We have that
Mhm.
all set up. Myself, I do some of that, but I have 4 guides that work for me, and they're
Mhm.
all experts in both spin fishing and fly fishing. Really family oriented people. They have a lot of great patience. They'll teach you
Mhm.
whether you're a beginner, you're an intermediate, you're
Mhm.
expert, you just want that extra guidance. So yeah, that's a good question. We will provide that to people. And a lot of folks have come to count on that, not only for themselves or their families or their guests, but they bring clients and they bring their employees out there as well
Mhm.
for entertainment. And we're going to take care of them.
Wow. Sounds awesome. I mean, you guys are doing some pretty good things. Now, at the National Fishing Expo in Columbus, what are some of the sales or what does it cost to become a member?
Yeah, well, that's a good question.
Mhm.
The general individual membership for a household is $3,700. That
Mhm.
covers the entire year, and that gets you
Mhm.
access to the club. There is an initiation fee of $2,500.
Mhm.
So it's not for everybody, but to have this exclusive experience and for most people, you're no more than an hour and a half away. A lot of people who are going to be at the show, obviously, are going to have
Mhm.
close proximity to it. It makes it worth for day trips or weekend trips. But we've got a couple special promotions we're going to be doing um, if people are going to join within 30 days of the show. We're going to
Mhm.
add in a night's lodge stay and
Mhm.
then free fly fishing credit as well. So
Wow.
we're going to be promoting that. We're also doing a couple giveaways through the show.
Mhm.
Those are some of the raffle prizes. I think we're
Mhm.
one of the 6 or 8 raffle prizes that we're going to be doing, and so overnight stay with fishing. So yeah, we're going to
Wow.
have a booth. Have a booth there. We're over by the concessions area. We were there last year. What a fabulous show, man!
That's
There's not a better
awesome.
there's not a better place to reach the target audience we're looking at for anglers. And
Mhm.
last year was our first year exhibiting there, and the results of the show and just the audience we had there. In fact, I'm having 1 or 2 of my members who are at the club there helping me with the booth this time because who better to talk about the the club
Yeah.
experience than our own members? And so,
No, and it's a total crossover too for you guys. So fishermen are hunters,
yeah,
So
exactly.
sometimes it's hard to get hunting property. You have to lease
Yeah,
ground. So $2,500 might sound like wow, but at the same time, I mean, you got a lot of acreage, you got fishing, you got hunting, you got a lot.
yeah,
So twenty five
it's a
hundred
special
is
experience. Yeah, it's a
yes,
really
that's
special
awesome.
experience. Also including with the lodging. You don't
Hmm.
have to book the
Yeah,
lodging, but it's
lodging.
there for you, and it's like a staycation. The good thing is
Hmm.
that so many people do that. They'll have their annual family gatherings, and people will come from Indiana, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Michigan, whatever, and they come and they meet at the spot. What a great place to be! We got
Hmm.
everything you need right there. So
Hmm.
yeah,
That's
we're
awesome.
really excited about the show again. It's just a tremendous show, and National Fishing Expos does such a great job. David and Leslie Hoheisel, I can't say enough about them. They're super
Nicest
to work
people.
with. They're nicest people in the world, and yeah, we're really really looking forward to this show. But we're right over by the concessions area. Come see us, talk to us. We got a couple other special things we're going to promote, but I'm keeping those up my sleeve.
No, that's all right. That's cool. Now, what about if someone's watching right now and they
Yes,
want
sir.
some more information? How do they get it? Where
That
do they
is
go to
really
find it?
That is really simple. I'll just
Hmm.
give my email out. It's
Perfect.
simple. It's Drew, DREW, at briarwoodclub.com. Drew at
Wow.
briarwoodclub.com. Um, and that's a great way to reach me. I'm always on my email. Of course, you can find our website, which is packed with photos, information about our hunting, our lodging, and our fishing the three assets we offer. That's briarwoodclub.com, www.briarwoodclub.com. And if you hear about us from, this video, mention my name, because there's a form on there to fill out on the website. Ask for me, and I'm going to take care of you with special offers too.
Wow, Drew, thanks, man. Keep doing awesome things. And I want to get into the fly fishing, the bluegill. So I might be down there. You might see me as a member. I want to get into it a little bit.
I love teaching people how to fly fish. It sounds hard to believe, but I like teaching people how to fly fish as much as I like fly fishing, especially when you get a kid, or you get somebody who's never had a fly rod in their hand, or not even fish, and they catch a 2-3 pound rainbow or palomino or brown or blue trout on that rod. It's like nirvana, man. It's such a special experience. It's awesome.
It's awesome too, and you get to share at that moment too, and it's awesome. So
I love it.
Drew, thanks for being on. We appreciate your time. I will see you at the
Craig.
show. All right,
absolutely.
Thanks. Have a good one. All right, everyone. That was Drew McHart from Briarwood Sporting Club. Up next, we have Chad Burns from Razr Rodz. But first, here's a message from our friends. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Now we are joined by Chad Burns from Razr Rodz. Chad?
How you guys doing today? Sitting up in the frozen tundra, literally. But at least I'm in my heated garage.
Yeah, that's a good thing. We are definitely froze up here. But Chad, Razr Rodz, give us a little backstory on how this all, happened. Razr Rodz.
Well, so this is going to be Razr Rodz' 18th year in business. As far as on my end, how it started is I was introduced and met the founder of Razr Rodz, Rick LaPointe, many years ago. A guy down on Table Rock in Arkansas, or Missouri, wherever Table Rock is. I think it's Arkansas. Don't shoot me, Rick, if I'm not saying the right state.
It's Missouri. You're all right.
Right. I'm a full-time charter captain, and got to the point of I was sick of replacing rods and breaking guides, and because obviously the equipment on my boat gets worked to the nth degree more than the average Joe fisherman. And so met Rick LaPointe actually at the Madison show and bought a couple rods. The next year bought a couple more, and then ended up on the pro staff, and it just kind of went from there. And I've still got the original rods that I bought from Rick before I was a pro staffer. All the components are still in great shape. The guides haven't broke. And like I said, I figure if something can last in my boat, being on the water 220 days a year with these rods in, hundreds and hundreds, if not 1,000 different people's hands throughout a season, if they can take that kind of beating, they can definitely take a beating from pretty much anything. So that's how it started. Now, that's the short version of the story. That's how my Razr Rodz got started.
Okay, now, when you say, the product, you're a professional walleye angler, so you use that product super hardcore. What are some of the products that Razr Rod offers for like the bass guy, the walleye guy? I mean, what's their guides? What kind of guides they put on it? Reel seat, things like that.
Yeah, so we do stainless steel guides, so you don't have to worry about anything as far as braid cutting through them or anything like that on all of our rods. Whether it's the classic line all the way up to our saltwater lines. We basically have a rod for everybody. We've got the bass side of things covered, the walleye side of things covered. We make an ultralight in pretty much all of the series of rods for the pan fishermen, the crappie fishermen. We just got into the saltwater line in the last couple of years, so anything from swordfish to redfish to sea trout to you name it, we pretty much have it covered for you. They're really, we use, nothing but the best components, AAA cork on all of our handles. The reel seats are fantastic. Never had issues with reel seats, and the high carbon fiber in our high-end rods. It just, from the one thing we always show people when they're at a show, because obviously it's hard to, until you're actually out there using a rod and experiencing what a fish feels like on the end of the rod. One of the best tests that we've ever done is we'll take a real light piece of fishing line, 6 or 8 pound test, tie it to the tip of the line, no washer on there, no nothing, just the piece of line. We'll have the potential customer or client or whatever you want to refer to them as hold the rod like they're fishing with it, and we'll just take that line and just tick it.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel that piece of fishing line being ticked all the way down in the handle of that rod. Now imagine if there was a fish on the end of there, or you're using braid in combination with whatever presentation you're using, because obviously braid adds a whole nother level of sensitivity to things. And
sensitivity is key.
Sensitivity is definitely key. It's definitely key. And, finding a rod that, especially these days, that's still 100% made in the USA. The only thing on our rod that doesn't come from the United States is our cork, because unfortunately the only place you can get good cork from is Portugal. So that's literally the only component on our fishing rods that is not from the United States. And there are probably less than, I would say, a handful of rod companies left that could say that. And, and I get it. I get why some of these companies have chosen to do it, especially being involved on the business side of it now. I see why they do it. It obviously helps increase your margins, and and part of business is wanting to make money, but how much quality are you willing to suffice to make that money? So,
yeah, and guys don't want to go seeing a $75 rod, like cheap components and all. It's just not worth it. Now, if you had one rod to recommend to the walleye guys out there that are watching this show, because we get a lot of bass guys watching and walleye guys, crappie guys, but you're the walleye guy. What is one rod that you cannot leave the dock with?
So I grabbed 2, but I'm going to show you.
Okay, give me 2.
I'm going to show you the first one this rod. This is, I'll try to get the label up by the camera so you can see it. It's a 7-foot medium platinum spinning rod. I got a Daiwa Tatula reel on it.
Beautiful.
And one thing before I even get into the rod itself is, and probably one of the most common mistakes that I'll see people make, is they'll go out and they'll buy a really nice high-end fishing rod like this platinum, and they'll put a boat anchor on the end of it. Well, if you're going to buy a well-balanced, light fishing rod for whatever presentation, in my case it's walleye for this rod, make sure you complement it with a good reel. Get yourself a nice, good carbon reel. I've had extremely good luck with the Daiwas. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but they've just been a really bulletproof spinning reel for me. It just complements the rod so well. I mean, this rod is so light. This is the rod that I'm typically using, my clients typically use. We can sit and cast this thing all day, and you don't get any type of hand fatigue, arm fatigue.
What size reel is that for the viewers? 2,000, 3,000, 4?
This is a 2,000 Tatula.
2,000 Tatula. Perfect.
Yep.
And you got it paired up with what braid? 10 pound? What kind of braid is on there?
10 pound 832. I like Suffolk just because it casts a little nicer than some of the other braids. And then I put a 14 pound Suffolk fluorocarbon leader on it. Okay.
And what is tied on the end of that one right now?
There's nothing on it right now except for a clip.
So what will you put on it?
On this rod, this 7-foot medium, and part of the reason I love this medium rod is you can put a shiver minnow on it, you can put a blade bait on it, you can put a rip and wrap on this rod. You can vertical jig with it. I would more recommend medium light for the vertical jigging, depending on the weight of your jig. But you can definitely get away with vertical jigging with the rod. It's just a good starting point for people. Because this rod can do so many things, and then as you expand out in your rod selection, you can dial in more for lighter stuff, whether like if you're going to vertical jig an 1/8 ounce jig, this is probably not the rod I would recommend. I would go to something like a medium light with a fast tip on it. But the nice thing is on this rod with the backbone, especially now that we do so much power fishing for these walleyes, is see that backbone starts between the 3rd and 4th eyelid already. So you still got a soft tip for a little bit of play, But yet when you're ripping these ripping wraps or blade baits or shiver minnows, all these different power fishing techniques that have come into the walleye world in the last 5 to 8, 10 years, you got to have something that's going to do what you want. You want to have a rod that's going to make the bait you're throwing do what you want it to do without having to overwork your arm. Out there casting shiver minnows with too soft of rods to where their rod's bending like almost halfway down, and I'm like, the whole idea behind power fishing like a shiver minnow or a ripping wrap is to, when you rip that thing, have the rod do the work for you.
Yes.
You don't have to rip
Fighting
it.
the fish and everything. Yeah. The whole works.
So
that's good. So what's that? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, keep going. So that's key. No, I was going to ask you for that second rod. Give them a casting rod. Do you got a casting rod option or a trolling rod? Maybe something you troll with.
Sure, I'll grab a trolling rod. I got it sitting right above me.
We do get questions on trolling rods, so this will be a good one, guys. Pay attention here.
So I'm actually going to grab two.
Go ahead.
The two that are the most common asked about. And here's another quick tip for some of your viewers, the guys that have the ability to put their boat in their garage. I don't know how well you can see them up above me, but put some rod racks above your boat. They're fantastic. So you literally can, especially for somebody like me that's got, 25, 30 rods in his boat every day. It's nice to be able to up in your boat and swap all your rods out.
And they're up nice and neat, and you ain't got to worry about breaking, man.
They all got rod socks on them to protect the guides and the line and everything else. And
that's your bread and butter, man. You better take care. That's the way I look at it. Your rods, your reels, that is like, you can't have no failure. Everything's got to be tip-top shape. I mean, every time. I mean, you have a chip in your guide, and I've heard horror stories. Oh, I have snap braid, or I did this. All because of a little nick in your guide that could have been not even happen if you took care of it, but also if you checked it and did proper maintenance. But go ahead, share with us this next rod.
So I'm going to show you two different trolling rods. So obviously trolling is, it's not as big of a game for us in walleye fishing as it used to be, but it's still probably a presentation I use. I would say close to 40 to 50% of the time I'm running trips. Everybody wants to cast. Everybody wants to jig. Everybody wants to learn the power fishing with the forward-facing sonars today. But there's just days where Mother Nature doesn't set up right for you, to where these fish aren't set up to be able to cast to them and have any type of success. And it's hard to teach a new technique to somebody if they're not having success, even though they're doing the technique right. But if the fish aren't set up to feed for that type of presentation, this is a great fallback, because trolling always put fish in the boat. It just does. You put out a lot of line, you cover a lot of water, and you're picking off the fewer active fish because the conditions aren't necessarily right. And, Mother Nature, she can be fickle. So you just got to, take the punches that she throws at you and deal with it on a daily basis. And some days you can cast for a while, and then you got to go to trolling. Some days you start trolling, and then the wind starts to pick up or overcast rolls in, and then you can start to cast. But anyway.
Wow. No. Before you get into that rod, you mentioned something, and this is just it's a yes or no, and that's all it's got to be. You mentioned something that I didn't really think about in the walleye fishing, but you mentioned forward-facing sonar people are wanting to learn. Do the walleye guys use it, and has it changed walleye fishing any more than what it used to be, like the bass and the crappie guys?
So to answer your question, yes.
Okay.
It is the most demanded technique that people want to learn. They want to learn how to look at the forward-facing sonar. They want to learn what techniques work the best with forward-facing sonar, and then how to identify everything on the screen. And, whether it's like I use Mega Live on my boat, but I use Live Scout on the ice. And it's really brought a whole nother addition into the walleye industry. Like, just quick, the guy who paints all my baits for me, Corey at Fish Gosh. Bass fisherman, that's what he does, that's what he is. Even though he's got a bait shop on a huge walleye factory, he is a bass fisherman. but he painted all these walleye lures, has for years. I finally got him out doing some power fishing a few years back, casting some shiver minnows. And as soon as he set the hook into his first walleye casting shiver minnows with forward-facing sonar, he was hooked. He loves it. The power fishing has just added a whole nother dynamic to walleye fishing.
That's how we catch them up here. Once I throw a jerk bait or a little swim bait, and I'll limit out. I'll see them out there. It's awesome.
But I've known tons of guys over the years that are huge bass fishermen that are out power fishing for bass, and they're catching walleyes all the time.
Oh yeah,
just took it for it to finally filter onto the walleye side of things. But
and that's what it did for the crappie stuff. The crappie donated to us, and now it's all a big circle. But it's interesting to hear that it has changed the way I fished over the last 4 years in bass fishing. I'm sure it's changed the way you fished over your career. So, no, let's get back on the rod so I don't blow this. So go ahead. What rod is that one? What model?
This is the 8-foot medium slider. It's a telescoping trolling rod, so you can see it extends out. It breaks down to 6.5 feet, so you lose 1.5 feet of length when you break it down. Which for the guys with the smaller boats, limited rod storage, the slider is a fantastic, fantastic rod. And it probably was one of the rods I was least skeptical on about how much big of a difference is it for trolling as far as feel. And I'm like, do you really need a high-end trolling rod? And like I said, it was just me being skeptical. And finally I bought one, and I could not believe the difference in the feel from El Cheapo trolling rod that I used to using a good high-end, same stainless guides, cork handle, high-end composite, a limited lifetime warranty on a trolling rod, which is unheard of in the industry, especially on any type of telescopic rod. But I think I've had this rod that's in my hand now for 9 or 10 years. I mean, I don't know how many fish this thing has reeled in or whatever. And it just keeps on plugging, which is great. And
so if they had that rod for that long and something would happen, you're trolling, do you know how much wear and tear? Do they replace that after the 10 years still? Would they?
It's a limited lifetime warranty. They will replace it or fix it one time for you.
Okay, cool. Yep. That's nice to know.
The rod breaks, something with the slide fails, or whatever it happens to be. I have not heard of any of these sliders failing yet, but I'm sure as they're out on the market longer and longer and longer and longer, I'm sure there will be something that will eventually fail on the rod. I mean, nothing is obviously indestructible, but I'll tell you, they've definitely made something that's about as close as I've ever seen to being indestructible. So, so that's the 8-foot slider. Just a fantastic, fantastic trolling rod. Can't say enough good things about it.
Perfect.
The next rod I'm just going to show you real quick, because there are some guys that are hesitant on the slider technology. And this is the same thing. This is an E-glass rod. This is a 7.6 medium heavy. It just doesn't have the sliding capability.
Okay.
But another fantastic rod. And the cool thing about it is, for the guys with limited storage, now you can start getting these low-profile trolling reels with the line counters on them, which
I've seen them. Yeah,
saves even more space. And that was another reel. It's kind of new technology. It hasn't been out real long, and I thought, boy, are they going to withstand the beating that my trolling rods take? And I have not had any issues with, calibrations or gearing or anything like that on these low profiles. This just happens to be an Okuma. Steel's Outfitter label on it, but yeah,
cool.
Super
cool.
Smaller, lighter, more manageable, because obviously, all of us fishermen out there, we want the most tackle as possible. Making things more sleek, light, carbon reels, low profile trolling reels. Just helps you not have to ever use the excuse that I don't have enough space for more tackle.
Yeah, right. It's never enough space. So if somebody wanted to purchase a rod and they were coming to the National Fishing Expos, what are the sales you got going on at the shows? Any
So
specials?
the sales we'll have going on at the show, we're going to have 15% off on our entire lineup.
Mhm.
We'll have the same deal running for some reason if you can't make it to the show, but during the show we'll have the same deal running online. Just in case we get weather, or, you know all these things go. I mean,
Yeah.
look what they're dealing with in Novi this weekend. It's it happens. It's just part of having sports shows in the wintertime in the Midwest. That somebody won't miss out on the deal if for some reason the road conditions aren't good for them to get there. But yeah, 15% off our entire lineup of rods at the sports show this year. Otherwise, you can find us at razorrodz.com, razrrodz.com, and our entire lineup of rods is on there. We'll have the discount code for you on there during the show, and look forward to seeing everybody at the rest of the shows this year.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you're interested in a trolling rod, a bass rod, just something casting walleye, check out Razr Rodz. I mean, it's made right here in the USA. Pretty cool product. And go National Fishing Expos. Put it in your hand and actually feel it, like Chad said. Chad, thanks for being on, buddy. We appreciate you.
Yep, thanks so much for having me. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, guys, that was Chad Burns from Razr Rodz. But when we come back, we have Jason from Family Time Fishing, so stay tuned. All right, guys, we are joined by Jason from Family Time Fishing. Jason, welcome to the show.
Good evening. How's everyone doing?
Good. I know you're pretty busy, but we wanted to pick your brain a little bit. I know you're a charter captain, right?
No, not a charter captain, but an avid fisherman. So we try to get out on the lake as often as we can.
Okay, so can you give us a little backstory then?
So my son and I have been fishing for a long time, and we have been creating our own custom worm harnesses. And last year he just said, "Dad, hey, can we go to a sports show?" And so we said, we're going to do it right. We're going to form an LLC. And we started our business, I think it was March 5th last year. And we've just been selling a lot of harnesses ever since. So it's been a great first year in business.
Well, that's great. So what is your product? I know worm harnesses. So can you show us a few? I mean, what else do you guys got?
Absolutely. We do spoon harnesses as well. So we've been doing some custom painting. One of the things that we like to do with our product is we put Flashaboo on about everything. We found a lot of success in it. It takes a little bit more time tying them, but for us, it seems to have worked really well.
Yeah. No, that's nice. Now, at the show, what are you going to have at the show product wise?
Product wise, we're going to have our worm harnesses. We're going to have our spoon harnesses. We will have perch fly rigs. So we'll have a pretty good assortment of that in a lot of various colors, styles between Colorado, willow. I know a lot of guys have preferences both ways with that. So we'll have a lot of product there for people to look at and hopefully take home with them.
Okay. Now, what about the sales at the shows? Are you offering any sales at the National Fishing Expos?
Yes, we are. So we will hopefully be conducting a lot. It's our goal is to help you put fish in a boat, and so we'll offer some sale discounts. So we'll be looking forward to meeting with everybody there.
Okay, now how do we find you right now? If we're interested in getting some spoons or some harnesses, how do they get a hold of them right now?
So you can find us on Facebook. It has our link for ftfcustomharnesses.com. And that is our website. It gives a lot of our backstory and history, just kind of who we are as people and how we like to fish. And that is the best way to find us. It's ftfcustomharnesses.com.
All right, that's a wrap on tonight's show. Drew, Chad, Jason, thanks for being on. And if you're interested in any products you've seen on tonight's show, check out the links in the description. Guys, if you're also interested in becoming a vendor or just coming to the show, check out the nationalfishingexpo.com. Guys, gals, like I always say, until next time, good fishing. I'm out.